Welcome back. Day 4 of trailgating at the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships. Freetrail's coverage is just getting warmed up here. The Short Trail World Championship is just concluded. In fact, it's still ongoing right now as we record. This is a bit of an instant reaction show, and we have a great couple of co-hosts here to share their perspective with us. Of course, my man all week, Mr. Adam Mary.
Hello, here with trail running royalty, Jen Lichter.
Jen Lichter in studio. Big round of applause, everybody. Yes. Jen, welcome to the studio. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're going to obviously have a lot to talk about with you. Bittersweet news, you not representing Team USA tomorrow in the long trail. Of course, you were 4th in the race that happened today, the Short Trail World Championships last cycle in Austria. So I'm sure you'll have a lot to share. But before we get to that, a few little bits to cover here as our housekeeping. First and foremost, thanks to our man Tom Buchanan behind the scenes here, managing our shows. Thanks to Ryan and Gracie, who are out of the finish line right now.
Sweating like dogs. We have absolutely been hustling the last few days, and we still have a few more to go. So we really appreciate the team. Thanks also to Harmony and Travis back home. And as a thank you, or as an appreciation maybe to our team, smash that subscribe button here while you're watching the show. Okay, so again, today we're recapping the Short Trail World Championship and then looking ahead to tomorrow's race, the Long Trail World Championship. I can't wait to talk about both things with you guys. And then tomorrow we're going to kind of do the same thing. We'll be back to recap Long Trail, look ahead to the Classic, and then Sunday we'll be back just to wrap everything up. Final reminder, go play fantasy, pick 10 deep in the Long Trail and the Classic race happening over the next couple of days. And shout out to my boy Rob Prosser, who won. I forgot to give him a shout out. He won the vertical race yesterday. Okay. A free trailer and a great fantasy player. Wow. Rob Prosser won yesterday. So go play fantasy. And finally, thank you to All Conditions Gear for supporting our coverage throughout the week. Go check out allconditionsgear.com to see what they've got cooking over there. Part of Nike's advanced innovation coming to the trail running space. Super, super exciting. Launching into it. Jen, first and foremost, the people need to know. Just give us the short story of what happened, what's keeping you off the start line tomorrow.
Yeah, so the short story is I came to Spain. I wanted to spend 2 weeks before the race checking out the course, just getting used to just how to move through the mountains here, because it is very different than what I have back at home in Missoula. I knew the fitness was there. I think I just needed to wrap my mind around just the way, that the mountains are here. And I was on my course recon, last long run of the training block. And about a mile from my car, I fell, tried to catch myself. And because of trying to catch myself on a downhill, my left leg went and slipped under me. And so I kind of landed in a half split. Immediately, I knew that I had pulled my hamstring in like a direction I didn't want to go. And so I essentially hobbled back to my car. I was only a mile on it, thank goodness. Just try to troubleshoot. Went on the bike, kind of reached out to USATF. I knew Carol, our physical therapist, was coming in a couple of days and, had a Zoom call, and she's like, I don't know about that, Jen, but we'll reassess once you get here, or when I get there. And saw her for like 2 days, essentially, when she got here. She had me, go out and try running, because at that point it'd been 10 days since. And
did you just full rest?
I full rested. I did a lot of cross training.
Okay.
I was on the bike. I went to the local gym and got on the bike because for me, I feel like that first 3 to 5 days was more of a denial phase and more of a, oh, this is just a little blip. It's going to be fine. Like, I have time. So I just cross-trained like a mad woman. Obviously, I knew I didn't want to get super exhausted, but just to try to maintain fitness. And, because 2 weeks from a race, you can't really gain it, but you can maintain. And so that's what I was trying to do. And then, seeing Carol, she had me go for a run, and I was like pretty hesitant. because I was just kind of scared because it would tell me a lot. You know, it's like, oh, you're 3 days from the race or 4 days from the race. When I first saw her, and I went and did my 10 minutes, and I feel like right from the get-go, I was like, this is not going to work, you know? And
it's like an instinct thing.
It was an instinct, you know? And I was like, I was wanting to be done with these 10 minutes because I was afraid I was going to like do damage even in those 10 minutes. And so, and my stride was all wonky as well. And Kara was like, try running, but don't worry about adjusting your gait. I just want you to tell me where you feel the injury is, how it's doing, how it's healing. And so then, you know, that night she did some needling and dry needling and some motor stuff. And she's like, okay, let's try again tomorrow. And so the next day I went back, 7 minutes. It was definitely better, but it was definitely like, if I went back to running, it would probably be a gradual build. It shouldn't be a full-on race because to do a full-on race would mean being injured, especially with a hamstring injury like this. If it's a mini tear or if it's a strain, it could lead to more problems in the future, and then potential surgery if it's damaged enough. And that was just not worth it for me. And at that point, the alternate needed to know. I needed to give her space to mentally prepare. And so, I called my agent, Kelly, who has been great through all this.
Shout out Kelly.
Shout out to Kelly. She's been the best through this. And I think she was the one who finally made the decision for me because I needed someone to make the decision for me. It felt like doing that decision for myself felt like I was giving up. And it also felt like, how do you say it? Like maybe it just felt like such a failure in a way. And I think I needed to hear from an outside perspective who doesn't have any emotion attached to it, who doesn't have like all those like training hours and exhaustion in their mind and wanting to let go of that. And so she basically was like, what are your goals? Like my goal was obviously to podium, you know? She's like, can you do that? And I said, probably not, you know? And I was like, cause she's like, oh, that's
what a great way to frame it.
Yeah. She's like, what's your big goal? And I said, do my best for the team, try to score for the team. And she said, do you think you can do that? And I said, probably not. I might be hobbling. I might
not finish.
I might DNF. She's like, oh, so would that make it well for the team? And I said, no, I won't be scoring. And she's
what
like,
a great way to
so she made it more logical versus emotional. And because I think with races like this, it could feel so dramatic, and it's good to take away that dramaticness, that emotion, and just be like, this is a race. Right. And if you were any other race, what would be the smart thing to do? And so I think at that point I, said, okay, thanks, Kelly. And I like hung up the phone, and then I called Carol like right away. And I said, I'm pulling the plug. And she was like, pretty much was like, thank God. Like, she's like, as a professional, I want to support you in your decisions. You're adult, but I'm not gonna like not let you do something if you really had your head in it. And she's like, but from a medical standpoint, this is the smartest thing you could have done for your body, and you'll probably be back on your feet way sooner than if you had raced.
It's interesting. I mean, a couple of things stand out. First of all, it goes without saying, but just for the audience, like you've just been on such a heater, and you were 4th place at the World Championships in 2023. And so I'm sure it's like, oh man, like I'm flying high right now. If I were to follow up Broken Arrow and Speed Goat with a medal at the World Championships or better, maybe a win, I mean, that changes your life. But also you're still in the early phases of your career. You got miles to run ahead of you, metaphorically speaking, years and years ahead of you to dominate global podiums. And this is part of the game, right? And handling it in the mature way and making the right decision, it's not easy to do. So kudos to you. Your loss is Freetrail's gain. Kelly had been texting us like, hey, so anyway, shout out to Kelly, and we appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit about it. Go ahead,
but Jen, seriously, like you've had an amazing season, and especially being like honest and vulnerable through this injury. Like, sure, winning a world championship might have like been positive for your career, but like it doesn't define you. Like you're already such an inspiration to so many athletes, and it's like it's part of your story, you know? Yeah.
All right. So before we move on, tell us about the haircut, the therapeutic haircut.
So as I was driving to and decided to pull the plug, I was going to drop off my rental car in Zaragoza, so about an hour and a half south, and my family was going to pick me up. My whole family came here to watch me race, and I'd let them know about my my situation, so they knew what was going on. And then when I got there, I told them I was like not racing and stuff. And, you know, during that meantime, while I was waiting for them to come and pick me up, you know, I was obviously pretty sad. I'd finally made the decision. It like hit harder. And so I was like, okay, what are some ways that I can like give myself like a warm hug or like like, it's okay. Like, thank you for doing what you've done. Instead of going off the rails, you know, going and getting drunk or like being depressed and sleeping in or like crying and just being, you know, like instead of crying into a hole, I was like, okay, how can I take care of myself in a way that would make me feel good? And so as I'm walking through Zaragoza, I see this like salon and I was like, okay, I haven't gotten a haircut by a professional since like 2015 because I normally just cut my own hair. I'm like that hippie cheap person that I'll just cut my own hair. And so I remember like staring at there and I go in and I was like, okay, if I have to make an appointment, it's not meant to be. Yeah. But if I can just walk in and get all these things done, then that's great. So I walk in and I was like, do I need to make an appointment? And the lady's like, no. And I was like, great. Can you do my eyebrows? Can you wash my hair? Can you give me like a really cool haircut? And so I just went in there for like an hour and I got taken care of. You know, I got like, when you go in there, they like massage your hair and you could fall asleep. And it just felt like a way to give myself this like warm hug of like, yeah, this sucked. But at the same time, like self-care is really important, especially when we use our bodies so hard day in and day out to perform at our best. And so, yeah, I think it was a way of thanking myself for like putting me first and instead of instant results or like that gratification of like, no, but I'm fit, but like I have to do this. I don't care if I end up injured. Like, and so, yeah, I think it was just my way of thanking me.
Good job, man.
That's mature AF.
Yeah. I'm going to schedule a spa day for myself. When I
pretty nice. Yeah. It was pretty nice.
It's good. Take care of yourself. All right. Well, again, Jen, we appreciate you coming in studio, sharing a little bit about it. It seems like you're handling it in the right way. I'm sure there'll be ups and downs as you process it, especially as you watch the race tomorrow. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, I think you have made the right decision and grateful that you would come and share a little bit about it with us. Talking about today's race, if we're ready to move on, got a lot to talk about.
Fireworks, dude.
Absolutely crazy, incredible race. Crazy. We were all at the start. So, you know, just to set the scene, it was a beautiful morning, crisp and cool as it has been all week, but glorious clear skies turned into what is another perfect day here in the Pyrenees, low 60s, perfect racing conditions on dry trails in the autumn here. I think let's just start with the two champions here. And in doing so, we can kind of talk about how things played out. The fun overlap here is that both Freddie Tranchard, Frenchman, who won on the men's side, and Tove Alexandersson, who won on the women's side from Sweden, are orienteers. And as Adam and I sat here and watched basically the entire live broadcast, it was clear, like, as we've heard all week, like this is a real mountain race, including some sections where it felt like the orienteering skills came in handy.
They're out there finding their way, dude.
So Cheryl, I'd love to hear from both of you guys about this. I mean, just a few of the sections that we saw on the broadcast for those who didn't watch, and then would love to hear from you because you've been out on the trails. So.
Yeah, I mean, just watching the race unfold on both the men's and women's side, like Frédéric and Tove were just out to a commanding lead, like immediately, which was very surprising. I guess like technically Davide was kind of leading the first climb, but like Frédéric very quickly was like, had
by
separation.
The top of the second climb.
Yeah. And so it was just like crazy to see them stick it over such a long course. And I don't know. I mean, I know Frédéric, I've heard of Tove as well, but like, I don't know that anyone had them as like favorites, you know? Yeah. It was just super impressive.
Yeah.
I told my partner Nick to pick Tove to win.
Really?
I picked her in second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with her a little bit over the years since basically I remember seeing her for the first time at Golden Trail in 2020. And I was like, wow, that chick is legit, you know? And I don't think she was like at her peak form at that point. But I feel like then in 2023, you know, she raced Grayson.
Yeah.
Just the way that I saw her race that race, I was like, this chick is figuring it out.
Yeah.
And she's going to be like unstoppable. And then she actually has been here in the Pyrenees for, I want to say a while. She did a race like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I think it was a practice race on the course.
Yeah.
It was a marathon on the course. And she had finished second overall.
That is crazy.
Had stopped for 15 minutes at one point because she fell hard on a really technical downhill, one that's actually on the long trail course that I did. And I was like, that's crazy. I can see how she fell here. She had like fallen and she stopped for 15 minutes to get stitches.
Yeah.
And continued to race.
There's
in that
an image of her. So she posted the Strava with this image on it from the event. And then she took the Strava down, I think probably to maybe hide fitness or to maybe to, you know, hide the splits, you know, because it was kind of a practice race. But the image, it makes it look like the gash on her head is like a couple inches wide.
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, I just posted some photos on the Freetrail account where it's still bandaged and it's this big long bandage. So it was a pretty like any normal person would have dropped out of the race.
I was just say that's impressive.
So just to like bounce back to finish the race and then bounce back and then absolutely dominate the world championship. Tove is like a different type of athlete. It feels like
watching her run downhill, crazy.
Maybe dwelling a second on orienteering just to define it. It's like, because it's not big in the US, right? But I think especially in Northern Europe and Scandinavian countries, it is like a fairly popular outdoor sport. But what it is, as far as I understand, I've obviously never participated myself, but it involves both navigation and endurance. So you're usually running with like a map and compass on an unmarked course. I actually talked to Judith Weider about it, who's been a dominant trail runner for a decade, who's also a great and former world champion orienteer. And she said usually at the highest level or the World Cup races, they're 90 minutes or 2 hours. And I think also Tove competes at a professional world-class level in ski mountaineering, but rarely does any trail races, right?
Yes.
So she was second behind Grayson in the Classic World Championship in 2023. I don't think she's raced a trail race until the practice run where she gashed her head.
Yeah. And she was only 30 minutes from first place, male.
Yeah.
Second overall, first lady, and having sat for 15 minutes. She, in an interview, actually said that after she kept going after the race, she's slowed it down. Yeah. That it wasn't to her full max. So she's she's like so crazy good.
Dude.
Yeah.
Watching her run today on the live stream, like throughout the race, but especially toward the end, she was so strong. She was rolling up world-class dudes just left and right, like blasting the final descent, so confident in her footing. It was like so impressive.
Yeah, like running aggressively with purpose with a 30-minute lead on second place. Could have easily just pulled up and taken a victory
which
lap.
We were talking about with the world champs and the scoring.
Right.
It's like even Frédéric was pushed literally to the tape.
Yeah.
Like
Make that more clear. Just
so like they score it based on the cumulative time of your top scorers. So the faster you finish, the better the chance your team will medal. And so it's really interesting because Tove and Frédéric, they don't enjoy it. They just push all the way to get every second for the team.
So good. Yeah. Tove crumpled in a heap at the finish line, and Frédéric, like you said, full sprint grimace on his face in the finishing stretch. And it was really close on the men's side in the team competition. We'll come around and talk about that in a sec. And we don't know the women's yet because they're still finishing, but there's a good chance that Tove's margin of victory will pull Sweden to definitely probably a team medal, potentially even a gold.
Yes.
So cool.
Fun little sub thing too is like, dude, Tove and Frédéric, right? Put an ice bug and Meryl on the map, dude. Crazy.
Yeah.
You heard of ice bugs?
No, I've never heard of ice bugs.
She's running out there in ice bugs.
Ice bugs, man. Come on.
that's
This
so
is
crazy.
Never heard of him, you know?
No,
yeah, this is definitely a highlight
strong.
for them.
very strong. And I heard her finish behind the lead man was only like 8%,
Yes.
which I think 10% is normally really good.
I think
So 8% is nuts.
At a world class or world championship level,
I
it's
think
crazy.
Courtney's course record victory at Western States was roughly the same percentage.
8%.
Yes.
People can check me on that, the data nerds in the comments. In fact, I
we were
welcome that.
remarking too about like her margin of victory was like Courtney-esque,
Yeah.
you know, like so dominant.
Yeah, the ITRA or UTMB performance index score for this one has got to be one of the best ever. I mean, I'm calling it now auto lock performance of the year on
Yeah.
the women's side
Gotta
for
be.
me. Incredible.
Stone cold lock.
And maybe the best ever trail performance with somebody wearing full tights, start to finish. Right?
And ice bugs for sure.
And ice bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie Tranchard, spending a couple minutes on him. Tove, definitely the performance of the weekend so far. But Freddie, yeah, like you said, had a little bit of a gap at the top of the second climb. It was like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And I was saying, oh, they're going to catch him. And then all of a sudden it's 2 minutes and it's 2:20,
Yep.
2:45. I mean, it was only 3.5 at the end.
Yeah.
But he got a margin and held the margin and slightly extended it in a way that felt like he was pretty much in control of the race for the entire day. Kind of an upset victory, you know, certainly a name that those of us who follow the sport know and have known for a long time, but we weren't putting him in the same league as the Stians and the Davides and the Elis and the David
'Cause
Sinclairs.
he did some Golden Trail races.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was good, but he was never like outright winning them like Stian, for example.
That's why I think this like orienteer.
Yeah.
The other thing that we talked about yesterday is this is a sky runners course. And for those who don't know, like sky running is intentionally hyper technical, often off trail, loose variable terrain. Orienteering, like we already said, involves, you know, route navigation. So combining those skill sets, him being both an orienteer and a sky runner, you know, just pulling from that experience. In fact, I looked at what he's done this year. He's done only 4 sky races this year, and only all 4 of those races were between 25 and 32 kilometers. So short distance, high intensity, hyper technical, and then saves the longer effort here today, a 45 kilometer race for when it matters most. He said this was his number 1 goal of the year. Nails it.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Just to give Frederic credit where credit's due, the place I remember him from was like a 2020 Golden Trail race where he beat like Bart, Elizine, Stian, and Jim.
Yeah. The Azores.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I think I remember that race.
Yes.
And then I remember people were like, "Oh, watch out for him."
Yeah.
And then he kind of just
Yes.
disappeared, but he's back. I
back.
guess.
He's reappeared.
Hey, one other thing for the old heads out there, 37 years old. Love to see it. Obviously 37's not old, not even a Masters, but competing in 45K races at 37, especially with the way the sport is now.
Yeah.
Got to give him kudos for that. It's very, very impressive. Shout out to Freddie, giving the French team an individual gold.
Also,
Freaking awesome.
In case anyone didn't catch it on his post-race interview on the live stream, he was saying like that was not his strategy or plan at all. He kept thinking, "Oh, people are going to catch up to me," like, but he was just on some shit today. And so, it's just like for anyone who is racing, it's like lean into that. You know, he was like thinking people would catch him on the descent or the next climb, but didn't happen.
Yeah, so cool. All right, one other fun stat. So it was about 17 minutes separating 1st through 10th men, which was almost exactly the same margin between 1st through 10th at OCC, sort of a race of a similar distance and certainly with a similar competitive density. But again, 17 minutes between the top 10 men. It was double that between first and second women. 34 minutes between first and second woman. Crazy. Tove, performance of the year lock. Okay, one other thing. If we look, we're going to get to the full top 10s here momentarily. In fact, why don't we do that and then we'll come back to it because it'll make the point obvious.
Sounds good.
All right. So again, let's start with the men because I have it up here. Freddie Tranchard, our champion, 4 hours, 40 minutes, 20 seconds. Second place, Manuel Marias, another sick day from the great Spanish sky running. Also legendary sky runner, right?
Yes.
4 hours, 43 minutes, 43 seconds. So about 3:20 difference there between second and third. Andreu Blanes, 4 hours, 50, 14 in third place. Alain Santamaria in fourth, 4:53. So that's 3 Spaniards in a row.
Locking it up.
Second, third, fourth, cutting to the chase. Team gold for the Spaniards. Fifth place, Marcin Kubica, Polish athlete, somebody I'm unfamiliar with. Sixth place, Luca Del Pero, the great young Italian. Seventh place, Martin Nilsson from Sweden. The Swedes showing up here with Tove. Eighth place, Davide Magnini. He was in the mix early and it looks like faded back to eighth, still very strong. Ninth place, Frenchman Sylvain Cachard. 10th place, another Italian, Lorenzo Rota Motrier, a name I'm unfamiliar with. Any comments on them as I pull up the women here? I mean, I think that the Spanish story was pretty interesting.
I'm sure it has, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but maybe home field advantage.
Totally.
You know, like they train on this type of terrain.
Yes.
They live in this type of terrain.
They did a training camp out here. They must have, you know?
And I don't know, I feel like the Americans who, you know, maybe have raced or are racing tomorrow, and have done some course recon, maybe they did it before or whatever. I think everyone was like, oh, we're in for a adventure. We're in for a ride on this course. Cause really there's really nothing like it back in the US or in like an immediate access.
Yeah. One other thing, I caught Davide's like pre-race interview and I think a lot of people were probably picking him to be a strong favorite for the dub, but he didn't have an ideal training build up. He had some kind of like inflammation related injury. And so he was like cross training a bunch and he's not like on peak form, but to get eighth in, you know, on that kind of a build up is like really impressive.
Yeah. I want to just give a shine to Andreu Blanes too. 2:09 marathoner.
Crazy.
He was second at Sears and All in 2022, the year that individual was found to have very significant and aggressive banned substances in his system. The champion that year, his name is escaping me now.
Mark
Kangogo.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. So he was then subsequently awarded, you know, being the champion of Sears and All in 2022. So obviously a name that'll be newer to a lot of people. He's focused most of his career on the road and track. I think he ran Sears and All this year. I can check and see what his result was, but a past Sears and All champion. So Andreu Blanes in third place.
Best celebration of the day.
Medal. Oh, he was so pumped.
Yeah, he was pumped the whole way.
Yeah, they had the camera on him like the last 400 meters, and he's just screaming and fist pumping, knowing he's got a medal, and probably knowing Manuel's just in front of me, Alan's just behind me. We got the team gold.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So sick. Any other comments on the men's top 10 before we get to the women here?
No, but just a quick shout out to Noah Williams, dude, finishing in 14th.
Right.
First American.
Such a great day for him, for Noah.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah. Great race for Noah. Shout out, pride of Leadville, Colorado.
That's right.
I mean, he's been strong in these like short distance races and stuff. To me, when I look at him just like physically, I feel like his sweet spot is going to be in the long stuff too. Like he's got the strength and sturdiness to him while still having the engine and
he's a mountain guy, dude.
I know.
Leadville guy.
I mean, but I imagine him on Hard Rock or UTMB or CCC or something. Noah. No pressure, bro.
I was talking to his partner. I think it's Emma.
Yeah.
Because we were on the course cheering, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he loves this type of stuff."
Yeah.
So
he posted about Emma earlier this year. Quick tangent, but I think she just hiked the AT because he posted something about going out, or maybe it was the PCT.
One of those long trails.
So shout out Emma, shout out Noah. Great work, making Leadville proud. Okay.
Also, shout out to all of the men's USA team, dude. Out there finishing.
Yeah.
Seth, my boy, out there on some Year of the Man shit today.
The year the boy became the man.
Soldiered it in, you know?
Yeah.
Great run.
Yeah. And we're going to talk more about this later in the week because one of our storylines, obviously, is like those that are doubling back from CCC or OCC. In this case, Eli, David, not having the performances that many expected from them, still finish. And same with Seth, you know, and
love to see it. You know, the guy's still sticking it out. And we looked at it, and we're probably outside podium in terms of
but
our
not by
team
much
result, but we'll be in the top 10 for sure. Because we were kind of clustered there with Noah, Eli, and David.
Don't quote me on it. I think we might be fourth, you know? Don't quote me on it.
Let's go. All right, moving to the women real quick, and this is going to make my point. Okay, so again, Tove Alexandersson, champion, dominant victory, 5:04. Sick. Sarah Alonso continues her amazing season, trail runner of the year conversation for her. 5:38.15 in second place for Spain. Naomi Lang also having an amazing year. Team GB only 40 seconds behind Sarah Alonso. So they were duking it out all day on the live stream. Then Ida Amalie Robsham, Norwegian athlete who is, I think, 6th in OCC, backs it up with 4th here today. So putting together 2 great, roughly 50K performances really puts her name on the map, I think now. It'll be really interesting to follow her career.
She was pretty steady in 4th all day.
Really? Awesome. Yeah. Then Anna Plattner, name I don't know, from Austria in 5th. Our returning champion from 2023, Clementine Jeffrey from France, finished 6th this year. Another great result from her. Jane Moss.
Heck yeah.
From Boulder, Colorado, top American, 7th place after breaking the FKT on the Grand Teton a short time ago. Putting in that mountain work, paid off here today. Shout out to Jane, top American. 8th place, Ikran Rasala from Spain, also coming off a good run at OCC, Spaniard. 9th place, Joanna Gelfrind, Swedish. Okay, so that's got to be the nail in the coffin in terms of bringing gold home for Sweden. And then 10th place, Barbora Borkovan from the Czech Republic, I think. Yes. Okay, so I want to hand it off to you guys for whatever we think here. But what jumps out to me, if we look at the top 10 combined, men and women, 1 non-European in the race.
Yeah.
1 non-European, and that's Jane.
Yeah. And Ruby only 20 seconds outside of the 10th place finish.
Yeah.
So we talked about the Alaskans. Ruby's the Alaskan. This is a course that suits people who maybe train in environments like that. But to me, it's like, okay, this was a hyper-European course.
Yes.
Like we're not seeing the Asian athletes, the American athletes, the Latin American athletes competing in even the top 10 here. This is the type of environment the Europeans train in.
And even knowing Jane's FKT on the Grand Teton and how technical that is, it kind of makes sense that this course would suit her really, really well with the technicality and the really sharp ups and downs.
So just looking at this, now I'm backpedaling, but so Spain had 3 in the top 13. So it could be that Spain gets the double medal. Again, this is based on cumulative time, not based on place.
Yeah, it could be.
But if we scroll a little bit further down and look, our third Swedish athlete finished in 6:11. That was Amanda Nilsson. She finished in 28th place.
Yeah.
So,
but that's only like 14 minutes slower than Spain's slowest runner.
Yeah.
Tove had such a big lead. So it's going to be close.
So it will likely be, don't quote us, and we'll correct ourselves tomorrow, but it will likely be Sweden, Spain, and then probably Norway in 3rd, with Ida finishing in 4th place, and then Shangrave Bellendron in 15th place. Don't quote me on that. We're speculating a little bit, and we'll see if we can confirm the team competition by the end of the show here today.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's the same story on the men's side, but just like interesting separation between like 3rd and then 4th, like 5.5 minutes, like a pretty decent gap. But I guess that's what happens when you're racing for 2nd and 3rd. Yeah.
Do we know anything about what happened to like Tabor Hemming, Lindsay Allison, Grayson Murphy? Like I'm scrolling, I don't see Grayson.
Grayson, I heard, had a stomach bug.
Really?
That was running with a stomach bug. I saw her at mile 10, and then I saw her mile 16. At mile 16, I was like, Grayson, you keep going, just one step at a time. And she just looked at me and just shook her head. Like,
oh no.
Tabor at that point had passed Grayson. Tabor was looked like she was feeling good.
She finished.
I don't know if she was, I don't know if she just kind of fell off from the start and just wanted to finish the race. And then Helen, this is just what I've heard from people who've been hanging out with her, was suffering from like a knee, maybe not knee full-on injury, but had some runner's knee or something similar, and was apparently feeling it on the downhill, especially that big first downhill. So
Dang.
I'm sure that had something to do with it. On a course like this, your knees have to be healthy.
Yeah.
They need to be strong. And then as far as Lindsay Allison, I haven't heard much on that regard.
Okay.
But that's what I know.
Yep. Tough go, it looks like, for much of Team USA. But yeah, shout out to Jane Moss and Lindsay Allison for having, or Jane Moss and Ruby Lindquist for having great ones. All right. I'm trying to get our San Marino update going here before we move on to preview tomorrow's race. So just, again, for our audience, maybe you set it up for the audience here.
Yeah. So Freetrail and the Boulder Boys have adopted the San Marino team. We ran into them on the trails a couple days ago, and they gave us a shout. They're fans, and we didn't know, we hadn't heard of San Marino. It turns out it's a tiny independent country, but in Italy, but surrounded entirely by Italy. So it's like in northwestern Italy.
It's like northeastern quadrant. It's just east of Florence, it looks like.
So, they're super nice guys. And so we've adopted them. We've been following their racing, followed them in the uphill yesterday. And now we're going to recap some of their results today.
Yeah, unfortunately, my Control F isn't working to search for the country's name here on the results list.
Okay.
But I did manage to find Michelle Rastelli is out there still slogging it out. Same with Roberto Pazzaglia on the men's side. I'll switch over to the women's side and name check our friends.
I'd expect no less from San Marino. You know, they're not quitters.
Yeah. While I wait for this to load, maybe just one more comment for me in closing on short trail before we move on. Yesterday, we closed our show by being a little bit critical about the whole opening ceremony situation. So I wanted to also make sure to say the live broadcast today was baller.
Yeah,
great job.
Super good.
Great job to the team, both on the technical side and those who are in
Drone
studio.
operators killing it.
Yeah. I mean, it was really, really beautiful broadcast. Amazing visuals, drones that really helped to drive home the difficulty of the course and kind of the remoteness and technicality and why Skyrunners and orienteers thrived today. So shout out to the race organization for that.
The other thing we should correct, from a couple days ago, we had gotten some intel that maybe the short trail course was like super runnable. I think seeing the course today and seeing who excelled, it's like, that's probably not super accurate. Like it seemed pretty freaking technical.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. So on the women's side from San Marino, Chiara Guiducci, shout out to you still out there on the course. Go Team San Marino.
Go Team San Marino.
We want to get some of that merch. We got to get some of that team swag from San Marino, and we'll be happy to send you some Freetrail hoodies.
I've got a Boulder Boy shirt for somebody.
Go San Marino.
2 years ago at the end of like all the races, all the teams were exchanging jerseys and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe someone can try to get you one.
Yeah,
that's what we're hoping. You know?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's probably why they swag out Team USA with so much stuff, so they can give it away and collect stuff.
We do get a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Any closing comments from the panel about short trail before we moved along?
Oh man, I think he was just a bit of a surprise. I mean, on the women's side, I wasn't surprised, to be honest. I felt like Tove and Sarah were going to be definitely 1 and 2. But definitely Great Britain surprised me by how really well she did. And then on the men's side, I kind of was really curious. I don't really know the men that well.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like really surprising the times that they ran. Honestly, I thought he was going to be a little slower. Yeah. Personally. So yeah, orienteering. People need to start doing that to become great trail runners, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, one thing we've been pontificating about is like, oh, I wonder if the people who ran CCC or OCC are going to be like feeling it. Seems like maybe in this race. And Team France, you know, like coming home with the dub, and
Great point.
great finishes for all the French athletes.
What a great point.
Yeah.
Thank you for remembering to say something about that.
Yeah.
And we'll remember to also revisit that in tomorrow's show, because the same is going to be true in the long trail race.
Yeah, I'm curious what that one's going to be like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the short trail. Again, an amazing race today. It was so cool to be at the start. It was a great vibe there. The broadcast was amazing. It's a beautiful day here. Both Adam and I got a little bit of a jog in, not to brag.
It's true.
So
It's true.
now we're here in studio talking all about it. It's been super, super fun. Moving to the long trail, but before we do, a big thank you to our friends at All Conditions Gear. Go check out allconditionsgear.com to see what they're doing there, leveraging that Nike innovation DNA, bringing it to the trails. The whole Team USA was kitted out in that Radical Airflow tee today. I got my hands on that ACG Ultrafly.
It's got to be tomorrow or the next day. You got to put that thing
I put
on.
them on last night. I texted a photo of my feet to my buddy Andrew Bumbelow, who works in footwear, and I said, don't watch out, say your prayers for the competition, because Debo's comeback is officially here now that I put those shoes on. So go check out everything that All Conditions Gear is doing. ACG, allconditionsgear.com. They're not only swagging out Team USA, also Canada, Germany, Team Great Britain, Kenya, Uganda as well. So keep a lookout for those triangles out there on the race course here and in the years to come. Big gratitude to All Conditions Gear. Moving on. Long trail. Tom, if you can pull up our course flyover again. Jen, I want you to tell us about it. But before we do, thank you to Steven Searer, who's doing all these cool animations and graphics for us that will help the audience get to know the course a little bit more intimately from afar. Go check it out at trailflow.io. Jen, the long trail course, our audience right now is watching a flyover of it. So set the context for it.
So essentially the long trail, they're going to go up La Moleta, same as the short trail, but their start is a bit more of a gradual, longer uphill. It's not as steep. And then pretty much same downhill, pretty technical, chunky. And honestly, it's going to be pretty much like that going forward. The most runnable part, from what I've heard, is the French side of the course. That is the one side I didn't get to. And then pretty much the middle is going to be the most off-trail section.
Mm-hmm.
It's the section that I did the course recon on. You're running through grass and you're looking for just markers because there's no really specific trail. At one point, you're scrambling up this pass and coming down the other side. Really chunky. Again, one of those areas where most people are going to be using their full body, like Spider-Man kind of crawling. One section that's one of the most beautiful is we're going to be on a ridge, really rocky ridge, feels like a spine. And that's going to be pretty spicy in some sections. That pretty much goes down to the last downhill. Mm-hmm. And as people saw it today, it's the same as the short course.
Yeah, okay.
It's lots of switchbacks, a lot of switchbacks.
That's a nice trail. I ran up that today. So at least, that's what I always like what race directors do. Like at the end, just put us on a nice trail down to the finish line. Don't make it especially difficult at the end, especially when the...
I think this trail is definitely going to be a longer 50K than most people think,
50 miler.
50 miler, sorry. Before, when I was coming from the US, I was thinking this is going to run like 100K. Now I think he's going to run more like 120, 130K.
Is it true that it's a 15-hour cutoff?
A 15-hour cutoff.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. For a world championship.
I've heard
tight cutoff.
From Little Birds that even Jim thinks the men might finish in about 10 hours.
Yeah.
Before scouting the course, he came in and he thought he could run in like 8:30. Yeah. So I think everyone has kind of had to adjust their mindset into it. Women, I'm assuming
it's good intel from Jen
maybe
Lichter
12 hours for the win. 11 maybe kind of like an OCC time.
And 10 hours is a CCC time is what you mean. So 10 hours for the men is a CCC time, 12 hours basically.
So that's what they think. So I think it's definitely going to play again to like the strengths of really technical mountainous runners, people who can not only run fast on trail, but navigate really well and swiftly through like the off trail section as well. Because there really is sections where you're just like, what is this?
Yeah.
There's no trail. It's just chunky rocks. You know, and it is one of those races where, yes, fitness plays a key, but also like mindset.
Being comfortable.
And just like, oh, I can't move as fast as I want to.
Yeah.
And like being okay with that, and just in the mindset way, being like, this is also mentally exhausting, not just physically exhausting. So people just have to really take care of themselves out there, to be honest.
Big dog course. Hey, Tom, if you can pull up the other Strava graphic here. So it is almost exactly a 50-mile course. According to the Strava map, it's 49.94, total of 18,000 feet of climbing stuffed into 50 miles. And yeah, if you look at the course profile, which our audience will see here, that middle section, what Jen referred to, is the section that on paper actually looks the easiest. It's just like a lot of these uppy downies. You can just imagine it being just like a really difficult off-trail navigation, ridgeline, slow going type stuff. So
the men think that if they're moving in like 12 to 13-minute miles, that's a really good moving. Yeah.
Would you have brought poles?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that's going to be pretty helpful.
Poles out.
Francesco Pupi, didn't use poles at CCC. Is he going to break them out tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd be curious.
I mean, this is no CCC based on the sound of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you do a race like this without poles and compete. I mean, for a medal.
Yeah.
I don't know. But obviously Pupi's on a heater right now, so he knows better than me. So we've established tomorrow's course, big, hard, difficult, savage. The good news is it's going to be another perfect, beautiful day here in the Pyrenees.
Seriously.
We'll be sitting here watching a live stream. The sun's streaming in. It's going to be lovely. So make sure you go watch the live stream, and you can always find that link on the fantasy website.
Wait, speaking of fantasy, I'm curious. You seem to have like some awesome intel for short trail. Who are your picks? For number one on both sides.
For tomorrow?
For tomorrow, yeah.
Well, let's do that later.
Are we getting to it later?
Because we got to talk about the
Okay. I do want to know Jen's though.
Okay, all right. We're going to talk about the fields in just a second. Before we do, we're going to just do the quick nationality stats. Tom, if you could start with the women, please. So again, we've been doing this every day just to set it up for the audience here. What we're looking at is the average UTMB index rankings for the top 2 or 3 runners on each team tomorrow, just to assess who's bringing the strongest team. I don't believe this has been updated since Jen's Jen taking herself off the start list. So the USA looked like clearly the strongest team, especially with that combination of Katie and Jen. In all likelihood, US will still remain the strongest by UTMB index, but by a slightly smaller margin. Spain in second after putting up, definitely 2 medals in the team competition today. So Spain doing well. And then Iceland carrying only 2 athletes on their team, but the average of those 2 athletes is the 3rd highest. Kind of a fun little story.
I mean, you can't sleep on Spain after how it went today for the Spain. They got definitely going to have some home field advantage. Yeah.
And then Italy, Germany, and France. Tom, if you can pull up the men real quick. Here we see the Stars and Stripes, slightly the strongest team, just ahead of Italy. And then Sweden in second place. Sweden putting together a great roster here, as we saw in the short trail. Let's see if they can keep the momentum tomorrow. Then we've got the French, Romanians, Spanish, Polish, Portuguese, etc. down the list. So anything on this before we get to the actual individuals?
Yeah, dude, all due respect to the male Spanish team, but like, are they, even though they're going to have a home field advantage, like, do you think just the UTMB index, like class of the US or Italian team is just going to be like enough to offset the lack of home field advantage? I don't know. Like, it's a significant difference, like versus the women's side is like a little less.
All right. So let's just, I guess, get to some of the individuals. Okay. So the Italian team, they actually did they brought at least a selection of the group here to do a recon mission that included Francesco Pupi.
Money.
And I think Andreas Reiterer. So, but of the top 4 individual ranked athletes, 2 are Italian, 2 are American. So let's starting with the Italians, the 2nd and 4th ranked athletes in the field, Francesco Pupi, who we just mentioned, who by his own admission, he thinks this is a course that doesn't map as well to his skill set. Of course, he's a great athlete. He could win tomorrow. The 2nd Italian, who's ranked 4th overall, Christian Minoguio, who is a 2-time world sky running champion.
Yep.
And who gave Jim Walmsley the fight of his life at OCC just 4 weeks ago.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
So then the other the other duo in that top 4, the 2 Americans, Jim Walmsley and Caleb Olson, who have both been here checking out the course, et cetera. So those are sort of the people anchoring those respective teams. Did you have something specific on the Spaniards?
Just that they're chilling in like the 878 range of UTMB index. It's like a big gap.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned this too. And I feel like Spain as a country emphasizes short distance racing because at OCC, they had they were highest ranked by nationality at OCC too. And then we saw what they did here today in short trail. So maybe just the country emphasizes shorter distance racing, or they just haven't built the pipeline towards the long course as well.
But if you look at their top dog, like Manuel Bayo, 2nd at Valderan in almost 11 hours, Transvolcania 3rd, 7 hours, 21 hour UTMB for 8th. So it's like solid.
Not Jim Walmsley, not Francesco Pupi.
Right. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. Okay. So maybe let's just keep going with the men here real quick, because there's obviously a bunch of names that we should get to. So just moving down based on UTMB index, Petter Engdahl, who's a dog, finished 4th at OCC, representing Sweden. Sweden's on a heater right now.
Amazing ankles. Those are going to come into play tomorrow, probably. Andre
Witek, we saw him doing his strides the other day. Dude looks primed. Also podium at OCC. Peterman in the mix. Vincent Bouillard, part of the No UTMB French team. Any comments on that collection of names or any others?
It's funny. I think of Vincent as more of a runnable course type of athlete. I don't really think of him as like super mountainous and technical.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes though you can't write people off like that. I don't know. He could surprise us.
Yeah.
But he's a great athlete. But yeah, I think my initial is like, runnable, you know?
What, do you have any intel on like Adam? He's from Montana. I feel like he'd be good on technical terrain.
He's actually pretty good at technical terrain. I've seen him, he does like to get out into like the more, the wilderness that surrounds Missoula. He did start working with a coach up until basically Western States. He was coaching himself and decided that it's time to pretty much take matters into a more professional level, and hired CTS coach John Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Montana guy.
Jeff's coach.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Jeff Montgomery coach. And Adam says he's honestly feeling really, really strong. The training that he's done since working with John has been definitely something he would never have done himself. So it's very different and challenging in like a good way.
Yeah.
And he's really stoked to see how that fitness and that, taking matters into like someone else's hands plays to his, I don't know, maybe a strength here is like, I can focus on just running versus like figuring out my own training.
Yes.
I think Adam kind of went through a lull since his injury, back in 2023, I think it was. And I think is just slowly gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And gaining confidence, I think, the more he races.
Totally.
So, but I think, I don't think we should definitely write him off. I think he's a lot stronger in the mountains than people think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So probably more so than something like Western States, to be honest.
One thing we should definitely mention is that the defending champion is back, Frenchman Benjamin Rubiel. It's funny because like he's a good athlete. He's put up some solid results, but it's not like when he won the world championship in 2023, it was a bit of a surprise, at least to me. Not speaking for everybody, but he is back to defend that title, and we haven't mentioned his name yet. So it'll be interesting to see where Benjamin stacks up there on that French team.
Seems like he's maybe, I don't know, like had a less consistent year. I wonder if he's been coming back from something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Not sure either. Baptiste Chassain, a former podium finisher, also on the French team. They got a very strong squad, and certainly this is, like we've already established, a French style course. I just want to give a shout out to my boy Joaquin Lopez from Ecuador too. I think he's got the type of skills that will be well utilized here. He ran one of the great 100-mile performances that people will forget about at UTMF this year in Japan. And just a really good guy and brings, he's like, the Latin America's best long course athlete. And
third at UTMB last year.
Yeah, third at UTMB. Yeah.
Crazy. First.
And he's really consistent too.
Yes.
He's just really consistent. He grew up super high elevation in the mountains.
Yes.
In Ecuador.
Can't forget our boy, Zach Miller.
Yeah. So I want to just repeat myself yesterday. So from our Tyler Green interview, I made the observation that you're maybe too young to remember the Dream Team. Do you remember the Dream Team?
The Dream Team. No.
Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Christian Laettner, 1992 Olympics. Now, on the men's
Remember
side,
that one, Jen?
but at least a couple of those names.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, who he is?
Yes, 100%.
So we've got Jim Walmsley, Caleb Olson, Adam Peterman, Tyler Green, Zach Miller, Trayson Knopp, the Dream Team. You know where the 1992 Olympics were?
Where?
Barcelona.
Oh, in Spain.
Yes. So anyway, Zach Miller, he's been in the top 10 at Worlds at least once. I think actually maybe twice.
Yeah,
He's
super
competed
good.
for Team
Super good in
USA
the
a bunch.
mountains.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
And non-technical as well.
A grinder.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And I think he was really motivated after Hard Rock.
Yeah. And that was his first race back too. You got to rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
You know? And then he did like a 50K, I think last month.
Devil on the Divide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won it. So
Yep.
hopefully back on form for Zach. So it's going to be hard to score for Team USA.
Yeah, he was
tomorrow.
getting chased down by Nick Clark's son, though. Shout out. Yeah.
Alistair.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Any other comments on the men before we close with the women? Okay. All right. Well, we obviously got to start with Katie Scheid. Even though the defending champ Marion Delespierre from France is back, Katie Scheid comes in as certainly the highest ranked athlete and the odds-on favorite. Whereas in the men's side, it's harder to pick like a clear favorite. Katie, we had on the couch here yesterday. She was very sad that you weren't going to be there to join with her on the trail. I know she's a friend of yours. Say a few words about Katie.
Oh, man. I think she's just the most genuine person. She doesn't really sugarcoat anything. She's like, yeah, I'm fit. I worked hard, and I think I personally think this course she's going to do really, really well at. Knowing the type of terrain that she says she trains on, as well as just her performance at Hard Rock, despite having like an hour of like a low moment. And then obviously Zierzona was insane. So not only does she have the speed and the technicality and the long mountain days, so I think that's going to be like a perfect mix, to be honest. She's great. I was so excited to like toe the line with her. And, when I first saw her, when she came in, she was like hoping that I would race. She's like, you go out fast, I go out fast. We can start this race together. We can crush the downhill together. Yeah. And, and I was just like, in my head, I was like, yes. Check. And, I honestly, like, before the race and before this injury happened, like my goal was like, keep Katie Scheid in sight. Yeah. Like, I think she's going to be really smart in how to race something like this. And as someone who, I train for these races and stuff like that, but this would have been like the longest, race of my career. And so I was honestly going to look up to her in the sense of like, how do I pace this correctly? But also obviously run my own race. So I was really excited to race with her. I think we would have been a great dream team
totally.
Together. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what she does on this course.
Cool. Okay. So a couple of great Scandinavians here. We'll buckle them together. All-time ledge, Ida Nilsson from Sweden.
representing her home country again. And then Sylvia Nordskar coming off an amazing second place at CCC. We'll see if she can bounce back from that race. It was only 4 weeks ago. Looking a little further down the list, two-time Western States podium finisher Esther Chilog here representing Hungary. Jasmine Lothar, the Canadian, who's great in the mountains, recent Grand Teton FKT
Dude,
holder.
Don't forget about Sunmaya Buddha.
Yeah, Sunmaya Buddha. Yeah.
Crazy strong.
Yeah.
Got to watch out for her.
Yeah, from Nepal. So it's like, you got to believe that she won't feel uncomfortable in this type of mountain.
I've seen her run downhill. It is admirable.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
she's like a little mountain goat. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
One thing that I think is fun and interesting too, buttoning two other great athletes together, Lottie Brinks and Hillary Girardi. Hillary is an American but lives in France and I guess has dual citizenship, so she's competing for Team France.
Oh.
Lottie was born in Germany but lives in the U.S. She's competing for the Germans.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of those alternate nationalities present on the list here too, which is fun. Maybe just name checking a few of the Americans here. Allison Baca, who has been having a good season. I think she was 10th at CCC. I think she was not as thrilled with that result as she would have, most normal people would be with a top 10. We'll see if she can bounce back from.
Talk about an amazing mountain athlete and a super skilled downhill runner. It'll be fun to watch her tomorrow.
Allison?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Shea Aquilano is here, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Claire Rhodes, shout out to Alaska. Let's see if those skills come in handy. Emily Smits, we met the other night, just walking around in town here. I think she's been on Team USA a couple of times. I think she's been in the top 10 at CCC.
Yeah, I think Allison and Emily Schmidt finished 5 and 6 in 2023.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And that was a pretty mountainous course.
Yep.
And not, I wouldn't say not as technical as this.
Right.
It was just mountainous. But I think they're really strong in the mountains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Emily said she had been here for a month or 2 weeks, did she say?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Jasmine has been here for a month.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, so they've been doing their homework, which is definitely helpful, especially
100%.
for races that are as tricky to get right and complicated as this one is going to be tomorrow. Any other closing thoughts on the women or in general for the race tomorrow before we close down? Jen, what are you doing out there tomorrow?
I'm going to go and help crew the runners with the USATF team.
Yeah.
We have 2 crew spots. They offered that to me as being part of the race, even though it was different than what I wanted. But it was like a no-brainer for me. If hopefully I can give them something, cheer them up or do something. But it'll be fun to be able to be part of it despite not being part of it.
Yep.
I'll be out there cheering them on and seeing them come through and feeding them.
Well, I'm sure it'll give you a lot of, even though there will likely be FOMO, it will likely give you a lot of motivation
100%.
to attack
There's going to be a lot of FOMO.
this rehab cycle and then move towards whatever is going to be next after that. Closing comments from you, Mr. Murray?
I don't think so. Just, it's going to be a really fun race to watch. Curious how that 15-hour cutoff comes into play for folks who might be having a tough day. And I'll be cheering for Team USA and San Marino tomorrow.
Go San Marino. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, super, super fun to do the show together again. Jen, really appreciate you coming in studio.
Yes.
And I hopefully get some more beta from you on how things are going out there on the race course tomorrow.
I'm so excited to see what happens.
Okay? Send me texts.
Okay, sounds
Our
good.
field correspondent.
Or I'll send you
field
texts.
correspondent,
You can respond or not, depending on your availability.
Yeah.
Okay, that does it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, make sure you subscribe to that channel before you click away. Make sure you also go to fantasy.freetrail.com, get your picks in 10 deep for both the long trail, and then we close things down with the classic race on Sunday. We got a bunch of athlete interviews out, so go check those out at your leisure. And finally, thank you to the team behind the scenes. Our boy, Tom Buchanan on the ones and twos,
Ryan and Gracie still up there at the finish line. It seems like Harmony and Travis back home, the extended Freetrail universe. We super, super appreciate everybody for tuning in. We also super duper appreciate All Conditions Gear. Go to allconditionsgear.com. Check out what they're cooking up there. Super duper exciting. For Adam Mary, I'm Jen Lichter. I'm Debo. Excuse me, we're getting a little
loopy. Time for some
loopy.
coffee.
Time for some coffee. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
Peace.
See ya.